This electric scooter that I'm reviewing is the Navee S65. So it's an electric scooter that does have full suspension, 10-inch pneumatic air-filled tires that are self-sealing. Because of the suspension, it's a very comfortable ride. It's got a mechanical disc brake in the rear and a motor that gives us a peak 500 watts. So the battery will allow us to get up to, they say, 65 kilometers, the range, which I'll of course be putting to the test. And we've got an application for it, and I'll just show you that the handlebars, this here folds right down to make it easy enough to fit this particular scooter into, say, the trunk or boot of a car. Now the weight of it, this scooter is about 24 kilos, so it's not too bad, but it's not light. It is a larger scooter, but being larger with the full suspension does make it a lot more comfortable than other models I have been testing out here. I'll let you know just how it performs in climbs. They do claim that it can climb about 25-degree gradients, and it does have a top speed of 25 kilometers per hour, which is limited here, which is the EU law. So let me just quickly run you through the design. So our tires here, they are 10 inches, so they're self-sealing, so as long as you keep a good high PSI in them. So they do recommend around 40 PSI. So we've got suspension, both front and back, and later when I get onto my ride quality tests, it really does improve the ride and make it a very comfortable ride. So we've got a lot of room right here, a low capacity of 120 kilos maximum, and there's a bit of grip here with the rubber surface and plenty of room for my feet. We do have these reflectors either side. So inside there is a 12.75 amp hour battery, and that's going to give us a range up to 65 kilometers, they do claim. And you'll see too that we've got mud guards. Now these are made out of plastic. We have some reflectors on the front here. And this is probably my biggest complaint is this. There are these plastic inserts that, I'm not too sure if you can hear that. They rattle about, and you certainly hear them when you are riding, and that is a little bit annoying. So we have a kickstand that holds and supports the 23 kilo weight of the S65 just fine, no problems at all. And our rear brake here, so we have both an electronic brake and a mechanical disc brake. So this disc brake here, I believe it's a 130 millimeters in size, and it does a good job, the braking performance. So rear wheel drive, the rear hub motor is up to 500 watts peak, and it's geared. So it sounds different from the typical kind of Xiaomi scooter electric whine. It's more of a mechanical noise. Now the latch it uses for the foldable handlebars is quite good. It doesn't rattle and it feels very sturdy. So here we have the open, so you need to pull up on this, then pull down, and there's the secondary, like what you could call like a little security latch there too. So you need to clip that and pull that towards me, and then the handlebars will now drop down, as you can see now. So just need to pull that down, then that handlebar drops right down, allowing you to then fit the scooter into the trunk or boot of a car. Navee does have this area right here with this little clip, okay, so that hooks in, and that allows you then to lift up the scooter, which as mentioned does weigh about 24 kilos. It does have a LED headlight here with a little focal lens inside, and it projects ahead and lights up the path. And I do find it's a safe and adequate LED headlight that is included and built into this S65. Another minor complaint from me is the fact that they don't use lock grips here for the grips, so you can see that it moves about a little bit. Now we do have a bell incorporated in the brake lever right here. It's reasonably loud, and this brake lever, when you do use it, that is going to engage, of course, the mechanical disc brake, but then also the electric brake used in the rear hub motor. And braking performance, I'll get onto a test later on, is adequate. It's decent. It's good with the scooter. On the right side, we have the accelerator here. Now pressing this, it's not going to do anything. You need to kick off first and get up to about 2 kilometers before it will let you then accelerate. Now this is our power on button, so holding that down will power on or off. Simply tapping it now when it is on will turn on the front headlight, and if you double tap, that then cycles through the different speed modes. So sport is up to 25 kilometers per hour maximum. The display gives us all the information we need. So we got our battery bar there. There are 5 different bars, each one representing, of course, 20% of our battery, the different modes. So just double tap and show you can go into the walk mode, the drive mode, and then the sport, which is the maximum 25 kilometers per hour. Now the screen wouldn't normally be flickering like this. It's just to do with my camera shutter rate. It is steady and you can make it out in direct sunlight. It's a nice color display that they have used. The scooter has an IPX5 water resistance to it, and here you'll find the charging port on the left-hand side. So this is covered by a little rubber cap with some magnets in it that hold it into place. So as long as that's on, it's splash resistant and you can go through puddles, ride it in the rain or whatever, it's not going to be an issue. Now the charge time is around about 6 to 8 hours for that 12.7 amp hour battery, which is a 48 volt battery. And here we have the application. So it is under the Xiaomi Mi Home ecosystem, Navee electric scooter. I've added it. So when you log in, you need to have it on. Otherwise, it won't let you access all I'm about to show you now. As you can see here, we've got our battery level, the remaining kilometers there, which I don't find to be that accurate. The mode you're in, so currently in sport mode, and you've got a few different options here. So cruise control and the tail light, you can set those to always be on. Now, when you tap here, you can go into your riding records to view more riding records. So you can see some of my previous rides. The last one, I managed at 15 kilometers. Average speed was 21. This ride here was almost 20 kilometers. And this one, 14. So I've worked out I can get about 40 kilometers, 40 to 45 out of a full charge. So just under this setting here, there's a few other things you can change there. I won't go into all of them. You've got this tire maintenance, riding guide, the scooter settings, you can reset that, battery info, so it can give you all the information, power, how many cycles, voltage, all of that is there, which is good, handy information to have. Firmware updates, so I've received one of those already, and there's just a couple other bits and pieces in there too. You can change the units if you wanted from metric over to the imperial system, depending on where you live. So it is a basic application, but it does give you all of the kind of information you need. I feel they don't really need anything else to it. The main thing is to get those firmware updates. So that's the real reason to use the app. Onto my ride test now. So the S65, very comfortable. There's plenty of room for my feet, and I think most people shouldn't have any issues with it. The best thing about this scooter is the suspension. So I just kick off now, and I can just go straight down this curb, not a problem, because the suspension handles that really good. It soaks up all those bumps. Now you will notice straight away is that it does make a bit of noise. This motor is not quiet. It's not as quiet as the Xiaomi scooters. It's got quite a mechanical geared whine to it because it's a geared motor. That is the difference there. And I don't actually mind it. I think it's more of a safety thing too, because really people can hear you coming and it's something you want. You want to be heard on the road. So it gets up to 25 kilometers per hour, no problems at all. And I'm happy to cruise along at that speed. Now there is the cruise control. So you keep holding down the accelerator, and now I can take my finger off that, and it's just going to lock on that 25 kilometers per hour speed. Now if I tap the brakes, tap the accelerator, of course that's going to disengage then the cruise control. So riding on a smooth surface like this, very comfortable. The suspension with the air-filled tires soaking up all the little bumps, but I can continually hear the rattle of those plastic trim inserts, which is a little bit annoying. That's something I would definitely look at fixing with a little bit of silicone or maybe a bit of glue just to stop them from rattling around. Just up ahead here, I do have a little bit of rough road, so some gravel. We'll see how the suspension handles this, and a bit of a climb. So going over these little rocks here, bit of rough, not a problem at all, and this light climb is an absolute ease for the scooter. Just up ahead, I do have a couple of speed bumps, so this one's nice and smooth, not a problem for the suspension. And then I have this, which is a hard plastic one, so I can just pop up the front wheel, and the rear suspension handles that, and really smooth, so that it really makes the ride. It does, because it's just so comfortable and smooth, this Navee S65. Now I'm coming up to my climb test point, which I test with all the e-bikes and e-scooters. So I am giving it a little bit of a head start here, but it should be able to handle this. This climb is approximately 25 degrees the gradient, and look at this. It's going up it just fine, although I have dropped down to 21 and 20 kilometers per hour. This point up ahead, it gets a fraction steeper, and it's showing in the speed, so drop down to 18 now, but this is doing it. Now this is something the Xiaomi electric scooter 4 Pro that I reviewed could not do. It simply couldn't do this, and I had to start kicking. And it's a scooter that is, okay, maybe a little cheaper than this one, but it's well worth to just go for this model. If you've got a lot of climbs, this S65 is handling it really well. Look at this, I'm starting to gain speed now. Braking test now from about 30 kilometers per hour from this point here. Oh, all right, because we're only braking with just the rear wheel, the braking performance is what I would say is adequate. It's efficient enough. It is easy to lock up that rear wheel, so you do have to really feather the brake lever there. It doesn't have like an ABS style braking system to it at all. So I do one more test from here, but at about 25 kilometers per hour, which is the speed limit. Okay, there we go. See, from 25 kilometers per hour, it's a lot easier to brake, which is what you'll normally be doing, but you do have to be careful with your speed when you roll downhill. I can see, just keep it under control, because if a car pulls out in front of you, it could be a little bit dicey. And here I am at the typical end of my test ride, which is the end of Las Rodas here in the mid-coast of Spain in Denia. Smooth ride. It's all about that suspension and the air-filled tires. Now, they're self-sealing tires, so I'm confident about them that I'm not going to get an actual puncture here, because it shouldn't happen. Not if you maintain 40 psi around there. It's a very smooth ride, really comfortable. I'm loving this scooter, really enjoying it. Then what about our range? So I'm looking at about 45 kilometers with my weight of 81 kilos, using the sport mode all the time, and most of the time having an average speed of around 20 to 21 kilometers per hour. It's not bad at all for this size and style of scooter, but of course that is quite a bit shorter than the 65 kilometer range they say you can get. Now you have to use the lower speed limits. You need a lighter rider and not so many climbs as me to be able to achieve that, of course. So there's a lot I like about this particular scooter. The full suspension. There's really only one thing I don't like, and that is the rattle from the front plastic inserts, the fact that it doesn't have lock grips. Apart from that, the performance of it is great. It's a smooth, comfortable ride thanks to the full suspension. So thanks a lot for watching my review here of the Navee S65.